What is discipline? Child guidance and discipline are the foundation for a happy, safe classroom for both teachers and children. When we think of discipline, we might think of punishment, putting children in timeout or scolding them. Those methods will not help a child learn right from wrong on their own. We want to help all children develop personal responsibility and understand the right thing so that they can appreciate doing the right thing even when a teacher is not watching over them. This is especially important for preschool children who are learning to regulate themselves, make choices, and have self-control for the first time in their lives. We want to teach the children in our care to develop their own personal appreciation for making the right decision, independent of rewards or punishments. This is called moral autonomy. When children are morally autonomous, they won't engage in inappropriate activities just because their friends do. They are less likely to give in to negative peer pressure. They have a strong sense of right and wrong and are more confident in choosing to do the right thing. How can we instill within children moral autonomy? Number 1, mutual respect. Number 2, teaching appropriate versus inappropriate behavior. And number 3, creating an age-appropriate environment and curriculum. We're going to review the importance of these 3 components. How do we engage with mutual respect? Mutual respect is the foundation for providing discipline that can be received. This means that teachers interact with the children in their care in a manner that is calm and patient. They speak in a kind tone of voice, and they take care not to use words that can destroy a child's self-esteem. A teacher must take care to never hit, shout, raise their voice with frustration, or label a child using bad names. A preschool day is busy. There can be one child who just had a toilet accident, 2 children are fighting, and 1 child is tugging at the teacher's shirt and whining. The educator can get overwhelmed. When the teacher manages their own feelings by regulating themselves and refraining from angry muttering, shouting, or acting impulsively, and instead remains calm and regulated, the children are experiencing that role modeling firsthand. Teachers can use their own moments of dysregulation to verbalize out loud to the children what they are experiencing and how they are managing their emotions. Teacher is feeling overwhelmed. There's a lot of noise and teacher needs to do a lot of things. Teacher will breathe deeply and remain calm. Will teacher shout? No. Will teacher get angry? No. Teacher will breathe. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. What does teacher need to do first? First, teacher will help Jake go to the bathroom. Then teacher will see what to do next. Wow, I see that we are all calming down together. Finally, the teacher must ultimately desire to get to know, understand, connect with, and develop a meaningful relationship with each child. A simple, "I see you, Jake," is a powerful way to make a child feel seen. Telling a child, "We love having you in our class. I love to see you each day. I see you're wearing new sneakers." A teacher can show interest by asking a child questions. What's your favorite toy to play? And most important of all, when a child is talking, make sure to be on the child's eye level, looking at the child with interest, and listen, and validate by repeating back to the child what you're hearing every so often. Your grandma came to visit and took you to the park? That sounds so fun. It might be easy to scold a child when they're doing something wrong. But are they understanding the lesson that we are hoping they will learn? What are effective ways to teach children appropriate behaviors? Children can learn valuable lessons through stories. A teacher might look for a storybook that communicates the lesson she would like to share, or she can make up her own story in which she shares how children should navigate a situation appropriately. Teachers can use puppets to share a message with the children in a fun and engaging way. Blue Puppet is sad because Green Puppet pushed her. What should Blue Puppet do? What can Green Puppet do instead? Educators can also use games to teach valuable skills such as turn-taking, following directions, sharing, patience, and self-control. Simple Simon Says teaches following directions. We Pass the Ball Around teaches cooperation and patience. Why is it important to create a developmentally appropriate environment and curriculum? When teachers set up the classroom environment and curriculum to be age appropriate, they are setting their students up for success by encouraging the children's curiosity, engagement, and excitement to explore. Each age has different needs. In addition to the environment, the curriculum must be carefully curated to be age appropriate. If teacher expectations are too high, children will become frustrated and act out inappropriately. For example, young children can't sit very long. If they are expected to sit for more than 5 to 15 minutes, depending on their age, that might be a recipe for disaster. Additionally, young children are exploring the world through their sense of touch. They seek sensory input by touching everything. They like to dump things and throw things onto the floor. If the teacher expects them not to do this, the teacher will quickly become frustrated and might seek to give consequences. If the environment or curriculum is boring and not stimulating the child, they may act out as well. For example, a 4-year-old cannot be expected to enjoy the same activities as a 2-year-old. They need more real work. Children should not be expected to learn through rote repetitions or drill. They should learn through play-based activities in which they can be fully engaged. When children learn through exploration and play, they are not relying on the teacher for engagement. They are engaged in a stimulating and interesting environment. Children are not waiting around bored, so there is less time for unproductive behavior. Teachers must take care to be knowledgeable of age-appropriate expectations by reviewing the National Early Childhood Standards or their state's early childhood standards. A child's temperament will also play an important role in how they seek to engage with their environment. How can we discipline more effectively? Number 1, be a role model. Number 2, accept the child fully. Number 3, create a relationship. Number 4, emotion coaching. Number 5, give verbal recognition. Number 6, give the child personal power by offering choices. Number 7, instead of telling the child what not to do, tell them what to do. Number 8, appropriate consequences. Number 9, develop routines and have clear expectations. Be a role model. Children are watching and absorbing how their caregivers are behaving. When they see a positive attitude, the children will be happy. You can tell when you walk into a classroom, does it feel warm and friendly? When their teachers speak in caring and respectful tones, they will speak to their peers more kindly and respectfully. Teachers must avoid sarcasm. When teachers are sensitive and responsive to the children's needs, the children are more likely to be content and cooperative. Children are absorbing how adults respond to them. And when adults use words that validate the child's emotions and perspectives, the child learns to develop empathy and value the feelings and words of their peers. Accept the child fully. It is critical for a child to feel that people like them. Teachers must take care to accept each child as they are and respect each child's unique abilities and potential. When children are clingy and whiny, we might try to shake them off and send them away to play, but we will notice that the whining gets worse. If we acknowledge their need for comfort and attention and play with them, listen to them, talk to them, cuddle them for a few minutes, we will see they often stop their clingy behavior and go off to play without further prodding. When I first began teaching, I had my own child in my class. Well-meaning friends told me it would be very difficult. They said my child would be clingy. For the first few days, it seemed like they were right. My child was coming to me quite frequently and wanting to stay nearby. At the beginning, I tried to encourage my child to go off and play with friends. After a week, I decided to change tactic. Whenever my child came to me, I welcomed my child, gave my child a hug, and remained comfortable with his presence. Very soon, I noticed that my child came for just a minute or two and would happily run off to play with peers. We might have students that we could label as aggressive, annoying, bratty, etc. We must take care to never verbalize that out loud. And even more, we must shift our perspective. We must see them as unique and special and deserving of love and acceptance. Otherwise, the energy that we give off to that child will not be one that is safe for optimal emotional development. Children must always feel secure in our love, no matter what kind of behavior they display. We can help ensure that by telling the children, "I am so happy that I'm your teacher. I love to see you each day. We are lucky to have you in our class." Children should never have to doubt whether their presence is appreciated. What should we do when we're at our wits' end with a child? The teacher should ideally take a deep breath and reset. She can make it a shared moment with the child and say, "Teacher is feeling overwhelmed. What should we do?" If the educator can't reset, she should ideally walk away from the situation to take a break after ensuring that everyone is safe. She might call a co-teacher to come deal with the situation instead. It's important not to show anger. At a later time, the teacher should write a few positive things about the child. She should share those positive traits consistently with the child throughout the day. For example, there might be a child who is constantly whining and crying and not following directions. The teacher might notice that the child loves to help. The teacher should proactively recognize the child. "I love that you are such a helper. You are a good friend." She will find that saying kind words to the child might transform the relationship. Even more radically, the teacher can seek to identify the most troublesome behaviors. Then, when the child is not showing those inappropriate behaviors, the teacher can recognize the child. "You're not whining or crying. You're calm and using your words." Teachers have found that their relationships with the most challenging children have been transformed from negative to positive when they used words of positive recognition with warmth throughout the day. If there's a child that a teacher feels she is unable to handle on a daily basis and she feels negatively towards the child, she should consult with a peer teacher or director for advice. Create a relationship. From the moment a baby is born, they require emotional attention from their caregivers. They can be given food, have their diapers changed, and have a place to sleep. If they're not given focused love and attention, they may not develop to be healthy socially and emotionally. They may be dysregulated and demanding. The teacher must seek to understand the temperaments and emotional needs of the children in their care. The easygoing child might need less attention and recognition than the intense child. Oftentimes, the intense child will demand more attention with inappropriate behaviors and nagging. When the teacher provides the child with positive focus and attention, their behaviors will likely improve. Making time to sit and listen to the children in your care cannot be stressed enough. Validate the child by repeating back what you've heard so the child knows you're listening. Validation is so powerful, it has the power to stop a meltdown. When a child is feeling upset and tearful over the fact that their friend took the toy truck they wanted, say the magic words, You wanted the red truck." When it's time to go inside and Jake is beginning to have a meltdown because he wants to stay outside, say, "You wanted to stay outside." The teacher might have to say it a few times for the child's brain to process what she's saying. "You wanted to stay outside. You're sad that it's time to go inside. You wanted to continue to play on the slide and the swings. It's no fun having to stop doing something fun." The teacher can then say the rule clearly and ask the child to think of a solution. "We need to go inside now. Let's go inside and we will talk about what we can do when you want to stay out longer." If a child refuses to cooperate, that's a different situation that we will discuss later. Finally, take the time to get on to the child's level and play with them. Enter their world and have fun together to build a strong, enjoyable, and trusting relationship. Emotion coaching. We often hear adults telling children to use your words. Very often, children don't have the skills to use their words when they're experiencing intense emotions. Oftentimes, they're behaving inappropriately because of their inability to express their emotions productively. We need to help the children in our care learn to identify their emotions, which will help them have the words to explain how they are feeling and find a solution. We can teach children about their emotions by frequently talking about emotions, using books, social stories, role-playing, and puppets. We can use visual cues, such as emotion posters on the wall, and point out facial expressions of other children. We can have the children practice making different faces for different emotions while looking in the mirror. When a child is struggling with a task and he rips up his project or throws a tantrum, he can learn to express his frustration using words. Teacher, I'm upset. I'm frustrated. This is too hard for me. The teacher must provide validation and comfort. Validate by repeating back to the child what you heard. You're frustrated because it's hard. I see that you're frustrated. Saying the same thing a few different ways is important because it takes preschool children time for their brains to understand and process words. Their language is just developing. We don't know that they understood what we said the first time around. Saying things a few times shows we understand them fully and gives them time to process. Our words are the first step in helping a child feel comforted. Comforting a child is important because this will allow their emotions to stop raging. Now they can use the front of their brain, the prefrontal lobe, which is responsible for the executive function, to come up with a solution. We can ask, let's find the solution. What should we do? It's amazing how often children will be able to come up with their own solutions, especially if the teacher has been teaching social skills to the class as a whole during circle time. Teachers should also teach their students tools and techniques to calm down, such as deep breathing, going to a quiet space, or doing 20 jumping jacks to help with intense emotions. When a child can identify their own emotions, they'll be able to identify the emotions of others and show empathy. They'll play more cooperatively since they understand that their friends have feelings too. Children need to know that not all behavior is okay, but their feelings are, and they can identify their feelings and come up with a solution. Give verbal recognition. A teacher can build the relationship at any moment, immediately, with an active recognition by saying the words, I see you. Jake, I see you. She can quickly add on to that by describing what she sees. I see that you are sitting so nicely in your chair. Or, I love that tall Lego tower you are building. Or, you are coloring that paper with so many colors. She can take it a step further with experiential recognitions by describing how what she sees reflects on the child's character and abilities. I see you building a tall Lego tower. You are focusing well. Or, you're coloring the paper with so many colors. You are artistic. Or, you're sitting so nicely. You are showing patience. Just like that, the teacher is building a strong, positive relationship with a child where they feel seen and appreciated. They will quickly learn that they don't need to get attention through negative behavior. They are getting it consistently in a positive manner. Recognizing children proactively for not breaking rules goes a long way. I see you're upset and you're squeezing your fists, but you're not hitting. You're following the rules and showing self-control. Or, I see you sitting and watching how your friend is playing with the doll and you're not grabbing it away. You're showing good friendship skills. Finally, creative recognitions involve making a clear, simple request of the child at the moment and recognizing them for following directions, cooperating, showing respect, etc. With creative recognitions, we have the ability to create a situation where the most challenging child is doing the right thing and gets the first-hand experience of being positively seen and recognized. For example, Michaela, can you get me the paper from the table? After Michaela gets it, the teacher can say, thank you, Michaela, for showing kindness and respect and getting me the paper when I asked you for it. Unfortunately, many adults teach children to misbehave to get attention. It's much easier for a teacher to snap to attention when something goes wrong. Taking care to see and recognizing children when they are doing things right teaches children that their good behavior will get them the attention. Give the child personal power by offering choices. Early childhood educators take care of the children in their care so that they are safe, clean, well-fed, healthy, getting adequate rest, and are provided with the opportunity to grow and develop cognitively, physically, socially, and emotionally. That's a big responsibility, and we are very frequently telling children what to do. Children as young as 18 months are seeking to understand their own sense of power and control. As they get older and can be trusted to make wise decisions, they're given more autonomy and responsibility. However, our littlest toddlers are seeking to feel a sense of control as well. When children feel like their sense of power is threatened, they are likely to act out or throw a tantrum. We can help children develop a healthy sense of control by offering choices. Too many choices can be overwhelming. 2 or 3 honest choices provide children with a sense of autonomy. Something as simple as, do you want to clean up now or in 2 minutes? Can give children a feeling of power over their circumstances. Do you want the green one or the blue one? When children must comply, I have found it effective to ask the child, can you do it by yourself or should teacher help you? Children will often run to comply to show how they can do it on their own. Instead of telling the child what not to do, tell them what to do. We might be surprised by how detailed we have to get. My friend describes how she would get frustrated when her child would run into the elevator as soon as the doors opened and not move aside and wait for the people to come out first. Her child was 5, and one day it occurred to her that maybe her child simply did not know appropriate elevator etiquette. The next time they were waiting for the elevator, she told her child, when the doors open, let's move to the side first. Then, after everyone exits the elevator, it will be our turn to go inside. Well, what do you know? The elevator's doors opened, and for the very first time, her child moved to the side together with her and waited for everyone to exit. When we experience frustration around the behaviors that the children in our care are demonstrating, we need to first think, how can we teach them? We can teach the skills we want to see through storybooks, through social stories, puppets, or role play. We can teach it to the class as a whole during circle time or one-on-one. And one of the most effective ways to teach skill is with proactive recognitions, meaning we should keep our eyes open to find the child doing what we want the child to do and tell it to them. Look at you. You're standing in line and you are not pushing any of your friends. Now that child knows the importance of not pushing peers while standing in line. The child has learned the lesson with first-hand experience. It wasn't through puppets or storybooks. It was through them doing it right. When we are giving children directives, we must take care to tell them what to do as opposed to what not to do. When we see a child running, instead of saying, no running, say walking feet, please. When one child pushes another child to get through to where they would like to go, instead of saying, no pushing, try, can you ask your friend to move over using your words instead of your hands? Consequences. When educating children, we want to avoid punishment. Punishment is negative discipline, where the adult seeks to hurt or humiliate a child to prevent undesirable behavior. While punishment might stop the behavior at the moment, it may be followed by worse behavior. Punishment makes children angry, and they are more likely to feel the need to assert their own power or seek to hurt others. Children will also feel hostile towards the one giving the punishment, and educators want to form strong, positive relationships with the children in their care, not hostile, negative ones. Punishment also focuses on telling children what not to do, as opposed to educating children on what is appropriate for them to do. The best form of consequences for children are natural consequences, where children experience the results of their actions. If the results won't be something dangerous, teachers should not protect children from experiencing natural consequences. An example of a natural consequence is that if a child doesn't eat lunch or snack, they'll be hungry later. Caregivers might try to encourage children to eat, but only the child can ultimately decide if they will eat or not. Children learn natural consequences as they watch tall towers tumble and friends get angry at them if they bother them. When natural consequences don't work, teachers can choose one of 4 different types of consequences: reciprocity, exclusion, deprivation, and restitution. Reciprocity refers to doing back to the child what he has done. This must be done without any anger or revenge and purely to teach the child the consequences of their actions. For example, this might include telling a child who is skipping school by pretending to be sick that he must stay in bed. At home, a parent might not bring their child for an outing because they have not finished cleaning their room. Unlike natural consequences, reciprocity is teacher-imposed, but aligns directly with the child's behavior. For example, a teacher might not make herself available to help the child take out a toy because the child is supposed to be cleaning up. Exclusion involves removing the child from a situation that is leading the child to behave problematically. For example, Jack wants to play with Sam. However, Sam wants to play alone. Jack gets frustrated and hits Sam. The teacher might tell Jack that he needs to find a different place to play. She wouldn't tell Jack for how long to stay away from Sam. Jack is in charge of knowing how long it will take him to reset. This is not a punishment. A punishment might involve sending Jack away from all the children and all activities. Here, Jack is simply removed from the child he is bothering. Ideally, the teacher should stay with the excluded child to help the child understand a more appropriate way of behaving and hopefully empower the child to go back to repair the relationship. If a child persists with the inappropriate behavior, the teacher might use deprivation to encourage the child to reset. Deprivation involves not allowing the child to have access to certain privileges. For example, if the child keeps knocking over a peer's block tower, the child will not be allowed to play with the blocks until the child decides not to knock the tower over. Once again, the power is in the child's hands to make the correct decision. The adult must take care to have the child's best interest in mind during each moment of the consequence. The goal is that the child uses their own power of self-regulation and self-control to make the right choice. Finally, there's restitution, which involves fixing the mistake. For example, if Sheila dumps out a bin of manipulatives, she would be asked to clean it up. If one child accidentally hurts another child, they can offer help, such as bringing an ice pack. If a child knocks over another child's tower, he can be asked to help rebuild it. Restitution is the ideal form of consequence because it's unlikely to get confused with punishment. Teachers must ensure that consequences are related to the child's actions. Otherwise, children won't understand that their behavior has an impact and affects others. It is essential that an educator refrains from getting angry or blaming or shaming at any time when imposing a consequence. If the adult behaves in an angry manner, the consequence immediately becomes a punishment that is more harmful than helpful, no matter how excellent or related to the misdemeanor it is. Develop routines and clear expectations. When we talk to preschool children, we must remember that they're learning most things for the first time. Their brain takes time to process, and we should slow down our rate of speech. We also can't take for granted that they know basic expectations of behavior. We are educators with the unique responsibility to be the ones to provide the knowledge of the most basic expectations. Children do much better when they are prepped in advance to know what is expected of them. If the group will be going outside and each child must put on their coat and take their water bottle, prep them before. We are going outside. First, we will put on our coats then take our water bottle, and then stand in line. What will we do? First coat, then water bottle, then line. Coat, water bottle, line. We need to outline the steps for everything clearly and repeat so that children have the time to process. Routines are important for all ages, but they are especially critical during the early childhood years. When children learn routines, this can minimize a lack of comprehension regarding what to do next. Power struggles, refusal to cooperate, and meltdowns. Consistent daily routines provide children with stability so that they can know expectations. This will help them remain calm and secure. Teachers must remember when to be flexible with routines, such as when children are highly engaged in an activity. It might not be the right time to end the activity and force the children to move on, despite the usual routine. Posting the routine for the children to see can be helpful. Routines should include meal times, toilet and diaper times, and rest times. Transitions can be a sensitive time. Teachers need the cooperation of the children, and there are so many external stimuli that can distract the children. Oftentimes, some children are ready quickly, while others take a while. Then, the children who are ready get bored and look for something to occupy themselves, which can result in troubling behavior. Keeping children waiting in line is a recipe for disaster. Besides, the children who are quick and cooperative and get in line first suffer the consequences of having to wait for their slower or less cooperative peers. What can teachers do to make transitions smoother for the children? Teachers can provide reminders before the transition of what will soon be expected so that children who tend to be slow will be prepared in advance to know what to do. During transition, teachers can remind the children of what they have to do by repeating the instructions in a sing-song tone or playing a song on a device, such as a cleanup song. While quick children are waiting for their slower peers to be ready, teachers can play games with the children, such as Simple Simon Says, solving riddles, or moving in a rhythmic way. It is important to note that when we try to hurry children, they often rebel, tantrum, or move more slowly. It's best to give attention to the children who are already ready so they feel rewarded. Wow, I see Mia and Sam standing ready in line. I see so many children following instructions and working to get ready quickly. We've already spoken about keeping things age appropriate, but it's so important that we must mention it again. If children are bored and not stimulated, or if things are too difficult, children will act out and misbehave. Thank you for taking the time to participate in this workshop, and may you be successful in educating and growing together with the children in your care.